What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another review. And this time we are looking at The Witcher Season 2. Now, this one I was absolutely in every way excited about because the first season came out of nowhere and it was a masterpiece. I mean, there was really slightly a few things here and there, mainly just like how some of the lore was explained, and it just needed to be like another episode in there just to kind of smooth things out. But other than that, I think the pacing and the way they did everything with the time and how the present and past the episodes kind of like happen at the same time, the action, the sword fighting, everything was just beautifully done. And I'm afraid to say, I was bored to hell with season 2. It really gets going, at least for me, in the last like episode and a half. I think the problem with this season is mainly the pacing. I think the pacing was just never able to keep up. And they did try to have a expansive story. There are a lot more characters, there are a lot more things going on. But because of that, and because of how many episodes were in this season, there are around 9. I don't think they were able to handle everything in a balanced way. So what happens is Yennefer's story, for example, kind of just keeps going. I think that's one of the weakest things in this season, how her story was handled. First season, you can tell there's an arc from where she starts at season 1, episode 1, towards season 1. The last episode, you can tell a great arc. Ciri, from where she starts at the start of the season and where she ends up in the end of the season, you can tell there's an arc, right? Even Gerald himself, Cavill, did it beautifully from where he starts, from where it all ends, the growth. Here, though, Yennefer's story, especially, is literally episode by episode. It's just one location and then another location and then it's another location, and it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. So it never really touches that mark. And there is a good start with episode 1. There is a message they deliver and it kind of sets you up, but that message never really gets explored to the point that the way I think they wanted it, or the way the season 2 episode 1 really sets up the season. I don't think it never touches that mark where even like their aspirations and what they wanted to do with season 2, uh, it ended in a way, all of it, that it just kind of is like, okay, yeah, it's another season and it's more of a setup. So that's like the second thing, is that most of the season is really set up for what's coming ahead. There's a war coming, there's something coming, and that's what this is. And there's also one enemy kind of that they're kind of building up throughout the season. Like barely they set her up at the start, and then you kind of like really forget about it. It's like in the background, and then all of a sudden it's like the major bad guy villain at the end, and then there's a battle. So you never feel that, oh, there's that one bad guy arc that also going, because throughout the middle of the season they're also focusing on these so many of these other characters, which also have so many of those storylines, and they're also never really fully explored, and things just happen and characters are introduced and they have abilities and stuff, and all of a sudden it's just trying to juggle back and forth between all these different characters. Not one fight scene is the same or even matches the same intensity or even close to it to what we got in season 1. There is a fight scene at the end, which is at best I thought was okay. And there's one sword fight I was like, finally, in the second last episode or so, it was like, oh, this is The Witcher. Look at the camera work, look at the choreography. That's what I'm looking for. But most of the season, even with like the monster fights that they had, which are very minimal compared to the first season, you're like, okay, well, they could have done so much, but it's just happens. They could have had intriguing abilities that they could have shown, but things just happen and then the fight ends. And then Witcher abilities are really introduced in the final episode when they're using them, and you're like, why weren't you using all of these before? And it just, in my opinion, I don't think this season is balanced. And I think that's its biggest issue. There is not enough balance between all the different storylines. And a lot of it is just a setup for what's coming ahead. It's not a setup and then it ends on that in season two. Even the season two ending, it's like, oh yeah, there's a setup for season three. So most of the season, or I should say, even like all of season, is really a big setup. And I think that was an issue with how everything went. And I took an issue to that because even with season one, even though there is a setup, it still had arcs for all the characters where you can tell there's growth from where they started to where they ended. And I don't think season two was well balanced. They definitely needed more episodes to kind of like give more time to characters and add more lore. So that's kind of my take on this one. I give this one a 5 out of 10. So, what did you all think about this one? Leave a comment below. Let me know. And other than that, I want to say thank you for watching. Thanks for all the support. If you like these kind of casual reviews, there are a whole lot others on the channel. Please go have a watch. And yeah, take it easy. Take care. And I'll catch you all soon. Until then, ta-ta. Hey, cow.